Yes, yes. Welcome to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. My name is Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Bennett Burkett. And full-on honesty in media out of the gate. I'm uncomfortable with today's program because it's a real show. I don't know what to do or how to do it. But we have Gabriel P. DeArmond of PowerMizzou, brought to you by James Carlton of carltoninsurance.net, with us coming up at 10:15. And then Joe Buck is going to join us at 10:35?
Correct.
Like the real Joe Buck?
The real Joe Buck.
And he wants to talk to us?
I know, that was the most vexing thing of it all.
I like that. I like that term, vexing.
But we're happy to have him.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like a real show.
I know, it's kind of gross, especially on a Friday.
Especially on a day when you were going to rank your top 4 hottest Major League Baseball managers. I don't understand why we would have Gabe DeArmond and Joe Buck on when we already have that kind of caliber broadcast content for this audience today.
I know.
It seems, to use a word you Ladue people would use, superfluous.
It would, but it's also serendipitous because to lead off my MLB manager's attractiveness rating is a guy who probably will be looking for a job this offseason, but still employed as of right now, and he was a big feature last night.
Wow, look at the surprising Ali Barmol is the George Washington.
He is not.
Oh.
Although I like his facial hair, the leadoff hitter, and he probably did a lot of leadoff hitting in his career. Skip Schumacher.
Yes, number 55, double nickel. Used to be on the receiving end of Kyle Osh's fist. And he was the signature moment, besides the gentleman who actually hit the 50th and 51st, for that matter. Well, I guess 49. I think 50 came after 49.
I think you could have hit the 51st out of the ballpark, to be honest, Tim.
Probably still would have been trickling to the right side of the infield.
Right, but you would have beat out the throw.
I would have. Yeah. Scrappy. Skip Schumacher is your hottest manager, and he decided to pitch to Shohei Ohtani last night as he joined the 50-50 club in what was written in The Athletic today as perhaps the greatest baseball game performance ever played in American history.
Yeah, I think that might be a little POTM, but...
POTM, prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, but in a record-breaking...
And you feel like Mark Whitten is being denied.
I always think that Mark Whitten's getting denied. I think Justice for Whitten is a super PAC I've started, so donations are acceptable. But I think that in a milestone-setting game, you might be up there. We have the call, Tim, of Shohei Ohtani's 50th home run last evening.
1-2. Ohtani sends one in the air. The other way. Back it goes. Gone! One-of-a-kind player. One-of-a-kind season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
How about that? That was the Dodger broadcast.
Great call.
Who was that?
Ron Brindamore. I don't know. I honestly don't.
It wasn't Rod Brindamore. Rod Brindamore probably should have been mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, as I look back.
I had a chance to talk with Jamie Rivers about your list yesterday.
And he's a big fan.
Alarmed by the Lindy Ruff selection to start things out. Disgusted by the pronunciation of the head coach of wins per game.
Yeah, I just call him, Mr. Winnipeg.
And confused by no Rod Brindamore.
Yeah, I get it. Rod the Bod. You know what that sounds like to me, though, Tim, is that Jamie needs to craft his own list. Because this was my list. If he wants to challenge that list, he needs to have it. He needs to come up with his 4 most attractive NHL coaches. And if he doesn't, then honestly, he can stuff his sorries in a sack.
It's bad idea genes, man. I'm just telling you, this is bad idea genes.
Yeah, he's had the opportunity. I've told him, let's move some furniture around. And you know what he does? He just walks away. He tells me, don't let one stupid decision ruin the rest of your life.
He said, I heard him mention Lindy Ruff. Was very creeped out by it.
Creeped out?
And he said, I didn't hear the final 2 after I heard him mispronounce the head coach of wins per game.
Right, which I still don't know how to
And he
pronounce.
said, did he at least mention Rod the Bod? And I said, no. And he goes, what was his reasoning there? And I said, because he said, I just heard his name for the first time right now. And he said, well, that's great for the credibility.
If it makes anyone feel better, I hadn't heard of any of the 4 coaches before I listed them. Not
You
true.
heard of Lindy Ruff?
Patrick Waugh, because he was the 2019 Bruins goaltender.
That's correct.
Yep.
He replaced Tuukka Rask midway through the series. Jackson, Shohei Ohtani, Skip Schumacher, who's your number 1 ranked hottest manager. This is what Skip Schumacher had to say because cameras caught him saying to somebody in the Marlins dugout, who also will not be part of the team next year, asking if he wanted to pitch to him. And then Schumacher said, F that.
Earmuffs.
I respect this guy too much to do that. S. And I, of course, was watching the Marlins game with my 2 boys, as we always do. It's a tradition. and I had to explain to my kids that kind of language.
Dad, we want to go to bed. No, we have to finish this Marlins game.
Yes. but Father, they were eliminated in June.
Doesn't matter.
Here's Skip Schumacher.
I think that's a bad move, baseball-wise, karma-wise, baseball god-wise. You go after him and see if you can get him out. And I think out of respect for the game, we're going to go after him. He hit the home run. I mean, that's just part of the deal. He's hit 50 of them. He's the most talented player I've ever seen. He is doing things that I've never seen done before in the game. And if he has a couple more of these peak years, he might be the best ever to play the game. So I just, as a fan, I wish I was in the stands, not in the dugout, seeing it. But it's I'm proud of like the guys that were attacking him and not scared of him, and that's how you should go after it. And then he hit the home run. I mean, I know Bauman didn't want the home run to be hit, but he hit it, and so it was a good day for baseball, a bad day for the Marlins, but a good day for the game of baseball.
Skip Schumacher. Great answer, too.
Really good answer. That's the best way to handle it. I mean, especially a guy like him who's kind of been out of the gig since the winter of last year, where they kind of said, we're probably not going to re-up your contract despite you just winning manager of the year, which is probably tough.
I thought it was his choice.
I didn't think that was the case, but I don't know.
Well, then that makes me feel even more confident about my answer.
I'm going to have to unpack that one later.
Maybe after you get out your second hottest manager.
Yeah, stay tuned. You won't believe it.
Well, maybe you can do it with Gabe on hold because he's going to be on hold in about 3 minutes.
Who's managing the Royals? Because Matheny would have been up there.
That's awkward.
It's the same reason I didn't list Bannister, Might run into him.
Yeah.
I'll find out in the break.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm done with this crowdsourcing information on this program.
It's my bad. It's my bad.
We'll ask Gabe because he's a big Royals fan, and he's going to join us on the other side of the break. It's Vanderbilt week, and Missouri's bringing out the white helmets and yellow shirts and white pants. We got ILL tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska. We got the Vanderbilt Commodores making their way to Columbia, Missouri. 2 top 25 programs looking to ascend up the rankings for their meeting in mid-Missouri in late December to advance to the Elite Eight of college football, Missouri and Illinois. You hear me, Jackie Papers?
Woo! Fired up.
All right, Gabe DeArmond's going to get fired up next. Brought to you by James Carlton here on Balloon Party. Presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Welcome back. It's Balloon Party, a rare program today in which we have guests, and they're like good.
I know. It kind of sucks, right?
It's weird that we're going with our headliner first,
right,
and then kind of the opening act second.
Real star is on hold right now.
Yeah, but stick around for Joe Buck at 10:35. Right. Even though I know you came here to see Gabe DeArmond perform. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get it right now. The Colonel, brought to you by CarltonInsurance.net. Gabe DeArmond with us here on Balloon Party. Morning, Colonel.
Hey, leading into Joe Buck is only a half step up from talking uniforms with Doug Vaughn.
Clip that off. Yellow jerseys this week. You can imagine we spent about 40 minutes on that on TMA this morning.
I'm sure it was a hot topic of conversation.
Yep.
Probably good radio, honestly.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm a big fan of them.
We could run that for a promo.
Look, you can do what they want and have listeners, or you can do what you should think they want, and everybody will turn it off.
That's exactly, and that's what we've chosen to do for 2 decades.
This is the People's Show.
Colonel, I was listening to your. I enjoy the podcast that you do with the beat writer from the respective teams, getting an idea of what's coming to town for Missouri. Last week with Boston College, this week with Vanderbilt, to get some perspective on what went wrong for a team that was able to beat Virginia Tech, but then lost at Georgia State. And they were on the verge of what was going to be a pretty good win against a lesser-than opponent. But then their secondary couldn't keep Georgia State in check. Those are words that aren't often spoken. And they wound up losing. And so this game that may have had a little more attention if Vanderbilt was 3-0 coming to Columbia, Missouri, may fly under the radar. Missouri, a 20-point favorite. When you talked with your guest, I couldn't recall his name, covering Vanderbilt. And then also when you watch Vanderbilt play, he said that realistically, Vanderbilt might beat Missouri a couple times out of 100, but athletically, Missouri is just going to be superior, and it's going to be very tough for the Commodores to come in and beat the Tigers. Your analysis of what his observations were and what you've seen.
Yeah, and Chris Lee is the guy's name. Good friend of mine. Has been covering Vandy, I think, about as long as I've been covering Missouri. And, he said Vandy's biggest problem is they're susceptible to the deep ball.
Yeah.
And their best defensive player, I believe his name is C.J. Taylor, is out for the first half of this game for a questionable, they're all questionable, targeting penalty against Georgia State in the second half. So if you're Missouri, you would like this to be let's see the offense go out and be what we thought the offense was going to be. Let's go get 35-40 in that range and hit on some big plays, because, again, the way Missouri has done it offensively, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's been effective. It just not flashy, and defensive football is predicated on especially these days. I heard Mel Kiper talking about banning 2 high safeties in the NFL because it makes the game boring. Everybody's doing this because they don't want to get beat by a 60-yard play. They want to force you to beat them 6 yards at a time, and their bet is if we force you to do it 6 yards at a time, eventually you're going to screw up. You're going to miss a block. You're going to have a penalty. You're going to drop a pass, whatever. And so for that play, you get 0 yards or -3 yards, and now you can't beat us 6 yards at a time. You can't go and score, right? The weird thing about Missouri's offense is teams have been making them beat them 6 yards at a time, and Missouri's been doing it.
Yeah.
They've been just kind of going down the field slowly and methodically, and it's worked so far. But as competition gets better, you don't anticipate that's going to work. Eventually, some of those 6-yard passes have to become 60-yard plays.
And this could be the weekend that we see one of those completed. And if it doesn't happen this weekend, I think that might have some people concerned going into College Station in 2 weeks. Gabe DeArmond with us, brought to you by CarltonInsurance.net. Every Friday here on Balloon Party, every Monday on TMA. For the second straight week, Missouri will be facing a mobile quarterback. What can you tell us about what you think the comparisons and contradictions may be between what we saw last week and in this week?
Yeah, Drinkwitz said that Diego Pavia is much more of a north-south physical runner than Thomas Castellanos was. I think he's a little more effective passer from what I've seen. When I watched Castellanos against Florida State, I just didn't see a guy that I thought, I'm scared he's going to take the game over and win it all by himself. Diego Pavia can do that. He did it at Auburn last year. He did it against Virginia Tech this year. He's capable of it. And the thing about Pavia is he gets better when chaos starts, right? It's what, and I want to be clear, I am not comparing Diego Pavia to Patrick Mahomes, but it's what people say about Mahomes. When he gets out of the pocket, when the play breaks down, when the scheduled throw isn't there, that's when he scares the bejesus out of you. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Diego Pavia. When he gets out there and starts running around in circles and faking a pitch 8 yards past the line of scrimmage and stuff, that's when he's really dangerous. That's when he killed Virginia Tech. So it'll be interesting to see the game plan. I mean, Drinkwitz said he didn't really foresee the same game plan as last year, which was just sit there and keep him or last week, which was sit there and keep him in the pocket. Now, did he say that because that's exactly what they're going to do? Maybe, because coaches don't exactly like to answer game plan questions 5 days before the game.
Yeah. Might be running a bluff on that one. Either way, the weather is expected to be warm, but a packed house anticipated again. There's a PowerMizzou tailgate. I'd like to think I can drop by. I don't know, but can I?
You can. What are the chances you are in Columbia for Mizzou?
Oh, Jackson.
He's about to rain down on you, Gabe.
5-star lock. Me and my wife and our 7-year-old will be there, Colonel.
Okay. Yes, I will text you the exact location.
Nice.
Not that I don't want all of your listeners there.
Yeah,
but,
this is like a swingers party.
Location in the morning.
I got to get the secret location. I'll say Fidelio right when I walk in. It'll be perfect.
Right when you walk up, I will whisper the secret passcode to you. Yes. And you can squeeze my shoulders and get in.
I can't wait.
Well, that's change my plans.
Yeah, you got to get down there, Jackson. Colonel, I like one of the things that I saw you write this past week, and then you revisited on the PowerMizzou.com, Tiger's Lair, and that is, even though it might be uncomfortable for Missouri fans to be rooting for Oklahoma, for example, Missouri fans need to be rooting for the teams that are on the schedule this year for the Tigers. And I want you to expound on the reasoning behind that.
Well, and not only rooting for the teams on your schedule, but also rooting against the teams that are most likely going to be competing with you for a playoff spot.
Like
right?
Ole Miss, for example. It was Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois was a great thing.
Ole Miss is not going to lose tomorrow, right? LSU is not going to lose tomorrow to UCLA, but you would have preferred South Carolina beat LSU last week because LSU has a path to a playoff bid. South Carolina does not. Also, South Carolina is on your schedule. Yep. So Missouri's schedule is such that at 10-2, if 10-2 ends up being what it is, they're going to want one or two of those teams to be 8-4, 9-3 type teams. Like the reason Missouri was ranked ahead of a couple of teams last year with similar records was not only that they had good losses to LSU and to Georgia, but that Kansas State game became a ranked win. They were like 23rd in the last poll. The Tennessee game was a ranked win. So they could say they went 2-2 against the top 25 teams. The two losses were top 15 teams and were competitive and all that. So you don't have as many of those teams right now. You only have one game is a top 25 team. That's Alabama. Now, BC, you want BC to run the table.
You better believe it.
BC to be 11-1 playing in the ACC title game. And people will say, well, if Oklahoma beats Tennessee, doesn't that just put Oklahoma in the position that Tennessee's in? Theoretically, yes. But if you look at Oklahoma's schedule, the chances of them going 10-2 just aren't nearly as good as the chances of Tennessee going 10-2. Tennessee plays Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma. If they win one of those three games, their path to 10-2 is very, very likely.
Yeah.
And if they're 10-2, they've probably got a better win than you have at 10-2. So it's become like an NFL type fandom, right? You're watching a game and going, I may hate this team because they're in my division, but they're not very good, and they're playing a team that is very good that I'm competing against for a playoff seed. So I want the Raiders to beat the Ravens because that helps my team.
I enjoyed in your conversation with Clark, Chris. Clark Lee's the coach. Chris Lee's the guy covering the team. That's why I got thrown off, Jackson.
No, I get it.
It's very reasonable. Stop looking at me like that, man. Stop. He hasn't stopped, Gabe. Anyway, you don't know if Missouri's great. You don't know if Boston College is great. You don't know if Tennessee's great because the team they beat, North Carolina State, we don't know what they are. Doesn't look like they're that great. Point being, you got one tomorrow with Oklahoma, who's kind of not looked particularly impressive in their wins, going up against Tennessee. This is a big game. I mean, this is something where we're going to find out, I think, about those two teams. Norman, Oklahoma, Saturday night. What are you expecting in this one?
I'm expecting Tennessee by as many as Josh Heupel can possibly win by.
Oh, wow. Jackson loves it. I think Jackson's going heavy on Tennessee tomorrow.
I think Tennessee is a better team, and I think if Josh Heupel can score 90 on Oklahoma, he will.
How about that?
If they're up 75-10 with 4 minutes left, Josh Heupel is throwing deep, I promise. And he does that to everybody, but he'll really do it to OU. Now, look, OU is better than people think. I think they're better than they've looked. It's a proud program, going to be wild there. I think game day's probably there. So you could see them get up and win that game, right? I'm not expecting it. But again, it's better for Missouri if it happens.
Yes, indeed. Oklahoma getting 7 at home. Sounds like Gabe is on the Volunteers. Jackson, you're on the Volunteers, aren't you?
Unfortunately.
Hey,
yeah.
you got to. It's business. It's
I'd love to know the last time Oklahoma was a 7-point home underdog.
Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Who is that guy who coached him in 1998?
Yeah, John Blake.
John Blake. I would imagine we have to go then. Maybe if they hosted Nebraska. That would be my guess. That's what I would fire a bet. That's a fair trivia question, Colonel. We'll discuss it tomorrow at the secret PowerMizzou tailgate location. That's what we'll do. We'll discuss that. Jackson, you coming?
Until you wake up and there's a cloud over I-70 and you text me and say, yes,
he's out of line. Drop out of this guy. He's out of line, Jackson. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there with my boy. He's never been to Fro Field.
All right.
Yeah.
Disney World.
Yeah, he's going to get to meet the Colonel. I think you've met him before, Gabe. Now that I think about it,
I have met him. He can hang out at the tailgate and have some wings with my 5-year-old nephew who's visiting his first.
Nice. All right. That sounds like a great afternoon.
That sounds so lovely.
Yeah. See, Jackson, this is what you're missing out on.
I know. Boy.
Gabe DeArmond, PowerMizzou. He is every
Jackson
Friday.
Can go hang out with the 5 and the 7-year-olds while the grown-ups talk over a Yingling.
Yes.
Yeah,
take that.
That's kind of more my speed.
Is to talk with 5 and 7-year-olds.
Yeah, they like my jokes.
It's tomorrow afternoon, 3:15 p.m. All the coverage on PowerMizzou.com. Gabe DeArmond here every Friday on 101 ESPN and every Monday on TMA. Brought to you by James Carlton. Thank you, Colonel.
All right, guys. Hey, if I can take 10 seconds to plug something.
Oh, what do we got?
Marcus Golden yesterday. The podcast is on our YouTube channel on our site. Great conversation. As far as I know, the first time Marcus has really spoken publicly since he retired. So I hope everybody checks that out. I
have that on my next to listen to on my podcast queue. I do. I'm looking forward to it. There it is, Marcus Golden with the Colonel on PowerMizzou, the YouTube channel, and the PowerMizzou podcast feed. Thanks, Gabe.
All right, guys. Talk to you.
See ya. There he is. That's the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond. And looks like I'll be hanging out with him tomorrow, and you'll be hanging out with my son and Gabe's nephew.
I love going up to Columbia for games.
Why aren't you doing it then?
It's just like this weekend is better for me to be at home.
Cryptic answer. I would delve into it more, except Joe Buck is waiting to get this over with.
Oh, I think he would be interested in my life.
Your plans?
Yeah, just in me in general. 2 great broadcasters from St. Louis. Chopping it up.
I'll just get out of the way.
I got some thoughts. I do have a question I really want to ask.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
Who's the hottest MLB manager?
No, that would probably be because of ESPN's real commitment to baseball. That might be tough for him to answer.
Conflict of interest?
Yeah. Well, I just don't want to put him in an awkward spot.
Yeah. So this is going to be an intriguing question. You think the audience is going to appreciate your question?
I don't really care if they do or don't, but I do think that they're going to be interested.
All right. Jackson's got a question coming up with Joe Buck. Joe Buck's going to join us on the other side of the break. You're listening to Balloon Party, 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals lose last night at the hands of the Pittsburgh Pirates, final score of 3-2. They play again tonight, taking on the Cleveland Guardians in St. Louis. 7:15 is your first pitch. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you, joined by Gabe DeArmond, presented to you by James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency in the previous segment. And if you missed it, you can go back and podcast Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast. It's there for you. Go back and relive this show, especially starting on Tuesday when Jackson started to rank the hottest coaches in the 4 major North American professional sports leagues. That's really been big for this show, according to the research and the critics. I'm buying time right now because my producer failed to get Joe Buck on and ready for this segment. And so on behalf of Jackson, I will apologize and resign. And now Joe's not picking up because he's pissed, and it's a whole thing. I'm furious. I've never been angrier right now. Joe Buck going to join us. And one of the reasons why he's going to join us, outside of wanting to be on probably a show with an audience that he's never experienced, is Sportsman's Park is celebrating their 50th anniversary this weekend. 50th anniversary this weekend. And anytime a restaurant in Ladue is celebrating a milestone, Jackson makes sure we also celebrate that.
That's right. I'm still working to get Joe on the line.
I wonder if Tommy will come in here and fire you on the air. I wonder if he would do that.
That'd be good radio.
It actually would be. Or maybe Jamie Rivers will just hand you an envelope.
I mean, if I can get something out of it, at least I don't have to go home sobbing.
On behalf of Jackson, I apologize. I resign. I will focus on the PowerMizzou party. Fire this guy! It's from the 314. Amusing when you have a real guest, the time clock is almost spot on. That's from the Grape Ape Auto Detailing. That's my guy, too, the Grape Ape Auto Detailing.
Yeah, well, good for him.
Wow, Jackson's starting to go around him. Isn't it in Joe Buck's contract questions that he won't answer questions from underlings? It's from the 314.
I guess we're all underlings, really.
Jackson, just zip it and get him on the line.
Trying.
Grape Ape Auto Detailing says, I'm all for that. Call in, Rivers. So Grape Ape Auto Detailing wants him out. Boy, oh boy, I'm starting to wonder now. Maybe we'll get Gabe back on. Give a preview of the bye week or the trip to Amherst. We finally get a guest, and we can't do it. That's from Tiny PP. Great job, Jackson. That's from Droid Effects. Jackson don't lose hope. Even Willie Mays fell in the outfield. It's from John Fitzgerald. You know what? The thing is, I know Joe occasionally listens to this show, and there's a part of me thinking that he might be making a play. Do you turn your mic off?
Well, yeah, I don't want to answer. Hello, Joe, and that just goes over the air.
You never had Joe Buck, did you? That's from the 314. Hi, Joe Buck here. That's from thanks, Dad. Buck has blocked Jackson's number.
I'm not calling in from my cell phone.
Jackson, just call me and I'll do my best Joe Buck impression. That's from the 314.
This is the moment.
Tim, can you just do a Joe Buck impression and have a conversation with yourself? That's Marsh's burner. Where's Marsh? That's from the 314. Well, in a situation like, now what did you do? You just keep calling him?
Well, I don't know what else to do. I guess I shoot him a text. I'm not
broken.
I'm just not good at this.
This is a great moment right here.
I don't think it's great.
Well, I mean, the moment, of course, is relative to this world a tragedy.
Right. Okay.
But your reckoning, I think, is the thing that's great.
People just want to see me squirm.
Oh, they're enjoying that.
Well,
way to end the weekend on top, Jackson. It's Tiny PP. Jackson just called Tiny PP to have him on. That's from John Fitzgerald. What's going on? That's from the Gator. He's got a trip to Starkville this weekend.
I'm glad the listeners are engaged, I guess. I guess that's a positive. But I do want, we're going to get him on, I hope. Does that convince people that to stick around?
I'm now getting involved.
Okay. So now Tim's going to lay down the hammer, and I'm going to look just like a damsel in distress, which is fine. As long as we get Joe Buck on, I don't care how it happens. If I have to do some sort of river dance or something, I don't care.
Where is Good Morning Grant when we need him?
Seriously, most people are better at this than me. Now, having said that, I don't know if the man just doesn't answer. I'm supposed to do.
Joe Buck would never fade Tanner.
Probably, yeah.
The 618.
I stink. I don't know. Like, what more do you want from me? I'm accepting fault here.
Well, you want to preview the Cardinal series with the Guardians?
I don't think they have much of a chance, Tim.
Wow. A take.
I just don't know if they have much of a chance. Not very good at the moment.
So on the next holiday, can we listen to this again on the Best of Balloon Party?
Yeah. Balloon Party struggles to get Joe Buck on the air. Ultimately, I hope it ends with Joe Buck on the air. That's all I care about. If it makes me look stupid, that's fine. It's about entertaining the listeners and informing them as well.
I got to tell you, I was really looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah.
I texted Joe last week about this appearance, and I guess there was talk of him coming into the studio and kind of having an idea of, I'm just like, there's no way he would come into the studio unless like that was part of the deal.
Right.
Just like, he's not going to do that.
Unlikely.
And I said, you want to call in or come to the studio? He said, I'll call in. I said, okay, that's what I kind of figured.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess he does. I guess he's got you blocked. So
that's tough. That's really, again, I'm going to have to unpack this later when I get home.
Guys, I just heard Joe Buck on KC95. That's from Gator.
Yeah, well.
Jackson, who's your second hottest manager in Major League Baseball?
Bud Black. Bud Black.
You've got a thing for older men.
Well, there's something about age and wisdom that, is a plus. And now we have my two managers so far are alliterations. Skip Schumacher, Bud Black.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm sure the audience immediately picked up on that, but wow, what a treat. What a delight.
Isn't it?
All right, Jackson. Piddles, are you high this morning?
No, I do have kind of a NyQuil hangover, though. I just think so.
I hate to hear that. I've done that.
Yeah.
Maybe once a year. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. My prostate will be a raging. And I wake up in the middle of the night. I can't fall back asleep because I got to visit the little wizard's room.
Right.
And I'm like, I make the mistake of looking at my phone, and I see it's like 1:45. And I go, F it. And I pour a stout shot, too, of NyQuil and just pass out. And then the alarm goes off, and I'm like, where am I? It's Columbia. It's 1999.
Yeah.
Last 2024. There's a 2-year-old kicking me next to me, and I got to get up, and I got to entertain people on HD2 radio.
Yeah, my nose was running last night, and I was like, I think it's allergies, but I couldn't be sure, so I avoided the Benadryl, and I got the Dayquil or NyQuil Severe. And I took that, and then this morning, I've just been a little lethargic. So I'm kind of got a NyQuil hangover, but I'm all right.
So you're blaming this epic failure on the NyQuil?
No, I could do this, theoretically, in any state, but getting Joe Buck, that doesn't happen that often. So I wish I was firing all cylinders.
Guys, this segment may be better than the Joe Buck interview. I can't take my eyes away from this tragedy. That's from the 636.
Well, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
I planned my drive for 10:35 to hear Joe Buck. It's from the 618.
Yeah.
This is the worst hour in radio. It's from the 573. I'll be down in your turf tomorrow for Missouri Vanderbilt.
Well,
please.
I don't know what to tell these folks.
Welcome my family into your tent.
And if you have a extra bratwurst for my guy over here, get him one.
I'm not really a bratwurst guy.
Really?
I mean, I enjoy them.
Right.
But we're going to Willie's beforehand.
Chicken wing. Cottage
Absolutely. Cottage fries, please. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
2 orders.
You think it's going to be a problem for my 7-year-old to get in?
No. Not in the middle of the day.
All right. What if he starts ordering scotch?
That would be an issue.
I guess we'll break. Maybe Joe will join us in the final segment.
If there is a God.
I noticed Tommy's standing outside with HR.
Yeah, but that could be for a number of reasons. Like a commendation. Like, you've won. Best producer in history.
Is that what you think they're waiting to bestow upon you?
Well, maybe they'll rip it up in front of my face or something.
Hey, Jackson, check the mic drops. I heard Buck left a mic drop. That's from Marsha's burner.
Yeah, I doubt it.
All right.
I'll try. This break, I'm going to be working so damn hard.
This is a defining moment. I mean, on top of that, you have the two hottest Major League Baseball managers left, too.
Yeah,
so this is a huge segment for you.
Of course, recapping Skip Schumacher and Bud Black.
What percentage are you going to give it that you're going to get Joe Buck on?
38%.
I like that number. I think that's probably the right number in Las Vegas. All right, find out if Jackson gets Joe Buck on and who his two final hottest Major League Baseball managers are. It's all coming up in one segment. This is Balloon Party. Well, you're going to be disappointed, ladies and gentlemen. But Jackson has gotten into the end zone, and joining us right now on 101 ESPN, Joe Buck. Morning, Joe.
I would do anything for Jackson. Here's the disappointing thing. I didn't know we were doing this today. I don't like not being available to Jackson or you or really anybody, but I'm in the middle of a set at the gym. It's Lift Gym here in Clayton.
Oh, nice. Stop on by to our listeners.
Yeah, my trainer / BFF, Ryan Manzik, is actually holding the phone to my face. I'm in the middle of a set of elevated incline presses where I'm doing 35 pounds for 12 reps, dumbbells. So that's what I'm doing right now. What do you got for me?
Or do you go more with the high weight, low rep, or do you go low weight, high rep?
We're trying something new. We're going low rep, low weight, low concentration, low buy-in.
Yes.
I like this workout. This is something that we can all get on board with.
People don't know this, but I do Bulgarian splits right below the dais here during the program.
Is that right? You're constantly working out, too.
Yep, getting those calves right.
So you and Joe have this in common. Joe, I was told, and this is Jackson again, just an absolute debacle. This is a broadcast travesty, that you were coming on to talk about Sportsman's Park and the 50th anniversary gala this weekend.
I mean, sure, I'm happy to do it, but I mean, I'll talk Sportsman's Park all day long. The Bucks don't eat. Without Sportsman's Park, the Bucks do not eat.
How about that? What's your go-to?
I'm like a turkey burger, jalapenos, maybe some steak fries. I only eat a couple, and I go with the Natalie's Power Salad, which I'm wondering if they named after my daughter, since our entire family picture collage is in the back left corner of the restaurant, as you would say.
Yeah, thank you for speaking properly.
Proper.
Yeah, that's good. The Buck family is quite prominent throughout Sportsman's Park.
Yeah, people think we own it. We don't. I wish I did.
Did not have any. Do you ever go with the Larry Wilson burger?
I have not, and I refuse to order the Jack Buck burger. I feel like it's just a little much for me to go there.
It'd be full on narcissism.
Like the nepotism. Yeah, there's nepotism. There's narcissism. Cannibalism, all of it. It's all there.
Jackson, I want to make sure that you get a chance to ask your question, which doesn't seem right after this absolute debacle. But Jackson,
go ahead, Jackson. What do you got? What did you go to sleep thinking about? Yeah, go ahead.
I've wondered this for a long time, Joe. They remade The Longest Yard in 2005. Adam Sandler starred in it, and during the big football game, they have Chris Berman doing the play-by-play. I was wondering if they would have reached out to you first, and you said, I don't think I want to do it, because I think you would have been perfect for that.
I would have done that in a heartbeat. And since those days, I've become quite friendly with Mr. Sandler through my friend Oliver Hudson. Nicest fella you'd ever want to meet. It's a name drop, but you brought it up. Yeah. So, he couldn't be a nicer, better guy. I wish he had asked me maybe someday in the future. He does have an ESPN thing because he's had Dan Patrick in a couple of his movies.
He does. That's right.
Berman, I guess McAfee, Stephen A. Smith. They're probably higher on the pecking order than me, but I would love to be third choice.
Jackson, is that satisfactory? Yeah. You've been wanting to ask this for 20 years since you were 7?
Well, yeah. I watched the movie. I remember thinking, I was like, this would be better with Joe Buck. I truly do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
make you feel, Joe.
Makes me feel good. I haven't done many of those. I've done a few where they're like, hey, would you come on? And would you be in this whatever project? And I get tired of playing the announcer. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, you could have played like Captain Canower.
It's not a stretch. Yeah, it's just too close to home. Make me a serial killer, then I'm in.
Keep hitting those low weight, low rep count. You'll be right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, I want to do Cape Fear 3. And I want to be the De Niro character.
I like that idea.
That'd be funny.
Joe, I wasn't going to go there, but it seems like you're pleased to talk about it. Please might not be the right word. And the people are texting in. They want to talk about the unfortunate golf incident in Cabo San Lucas with your wife, Michelle.
Yeah, it was horrible.
You're on the tee. She's doing handstands, and I guess
she did a headstand, which I didn't know. Like, that's like forearms on the ground, feet in the air. She's done it since before I met her. That's like her. I can't play golf, but I'm in the foursome for the charity event. I'm going to do a headstand at the tee box, which she did out into my left. I really honestly wasn't paying a lot of attention to exactly where she was. And then the guy was looking at the ball, and I hit the ball at the exact time that she decided with her feet in the air to do the splits, and she dropped her right leg into my line of fire, and I literally destroyed the inside of her right ankle, which has been 2.5, almost 3 months now of rebuilding it. All the bones have healed. She got a nerve release operation last week, and things are trending in the right direction, but it's been a hell of a little ride here.
Oh, man, I mean, that had to be. And I saw your Twitter video discussing it, and the sound was perhaps.
The sound woke me up. I swear to you, I've never, like, people say that, and I would wake up in the middle of the night hearing that. And then once that disappeared. And I can still hear it. It was just like, because it was just like ball ankle, like bang, bang. And then it was just, she was rolling around and in pain. And like I said in the video, I spend my life trying to protect those I love. And then I heard her, and it was just like soul crushing. And then what replaced that thought in the middle of the night was, well, what if I had hit it horribly and just hooked it and somehow hit her in the head or whatever. And so, I mean, it's gross, and it makes her not available to work on Monday Night Countdown, which, if you know her at all, it's so bad for her because she just lives to work, lives to be a mom, lives to be, all these things, but work is a huge thing and she can't go do it. So it's just terrible all the way around. But again, it could have been worse.
Have you been able to play golf without thinking about it since that incident?
Yeah, no problem.
Jackson catches a lot of hell from our audience. He's a 26-year-old strapping boy, and he only hits a 7-iron about $148. What's your stock 7 flying right now?
Well, I went to the new Ping iron, which the guy who fitted me for them, however you conjugate that verb, said that you're going to see they're like a club longer, which I guess they just crank it down to a lower
angle
degree of loft. And yeah, I mean 7 I have hit, and you can verify this with Kevin Sesniak of the Old Warson Caddy program.
Nice. I
hit a 7-iron uphill. I think it was 185. I hit it over the green. So, every once in a while it'll
Jackson.
So you think this is an equipment issue?
I think you need to look at the pings and then start lifting. Do low impact, low reps, low weight,
and low buy-in.
Right.
Final thoughts. I know you have to get back to this intense workout. Sportsman's Park 50th anniversary. How are you involved, Joe?
Well, Jim Probstein asked me to go there and wave and sign autographs, take pictures with the kids from 12 to 3 tomorrow. And I believe the proceeds from whatever is purchased at Sportsman's Park go to Children's Hospital.
Oh,
so that's the part that makes me the happiest. I'm embarrassed to promote my own event and act like anybody cares to come see me, but if you go there, you'll be donating to Children's Hospital, so that's good.
What do you got this week, Buffalo or Cincinnati?
Cincinnati against the Washington Commanders.
All right, I see it's a doubleheader. We got a doubleheader.
It is, but they put Troy and Joe on ABC.
Okay.
When there's 2.
Off to Cincinnati you go.
You can always do that. You can have Jackson do your research, and if there's a doubleheader, we will always be on the ABC broadcast.
Noted. Got it.
There it is. Joe, thank you so much. We apologize for interrupting the workout.
You apologize to Ryan Manzik. You don't apologize to me.
Ryan.
You ruined his whole day.
Yeah, he's got to get another client's coming in. Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jackson. Next time, just text me, and I'll be right there waiting for the phone call.
Okay?
Yeah,
good idea. That's a good
Joe.
producing tip there. That's Joe Buck right there. Guys already in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's going to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And you just got a tip from him on how to produce. How great was that?
Joe Buck was out there. He said my name multiple times.
That's what this was about. This wasn't really a promotion for Sportsman's Park and raising money for Children's Hospital. You just wanted to have him on so you could hear him say your name.
You guys joke, but this was a very cool moment for me.
And he shepherded you through the darkness that was the third segment of today's show.
That's right. But we're always come back better, You can get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up.
Guys, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, is what you say. LL Cool J. Mama said knock you out. Think about that right now. That's Rocky. Well, the only way to finish on a higher note than the Joe Buck interview is you ranking 2 men who manage baseball teams. So I guess that's what we're going to do.
Get to it.
Yeah, mainly just because the show's ending.
Buck Showalter.
What are we doing right now?
Buck Showalter. And
who's he managing?
Good question, Tim. And then Dave Roberts finishes it out.
If Buck Showalter's not managing, do you have a replacement?
If he's not, you asked? Like if he's not managing?
Right. This is what we call a delay tactic for those of you who haven't been lucky enough to experience broadcasting excellence on this side of the wall.
Then I'll go with Bob Melvin.
Of course. I just get a sense that this is alphabetical and these are the names that are coming at the top of the list.
I honestly my head was spinning trying to get Joe Buck
Because
on.
Joe said your name.
Well, no.
You're in a tizzy right now.
I couldn't get back to my list. I have a list that I set up, but it's encrypted, and I forgot the key. So we're going to go with Bob Melvin and then Dave Roberts.
All right, there it is. Wow. I mean, what a special segment. When you send out your resume reel, I would imagine program directors throughout the land will hear this one.
It's like the best broadcaster in the world, saying he's always there for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you need.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially a reference now.
Not bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Burkett has won yet again, and he's doffing his cap to the YouTube audience. Look at that. Droid Effects is pissed Craig Counsell wasn't on your list.
That ridiculous batting stance isn't going to get on my list.
Time for us to shut it down. BK and Ferrario are up next for Jackson Bennett Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.